Stormy politics is the theme of today. We'll talk about Hurricane Sandy and global warming and how the storm is affecting the presidential race. Welcome to Opinion Journal Live. I'm Jason Riley, and my first guest is Democratic pollster Doug Schoen. Welcome.
Thanks, Jason.
So let's get right to it. National polls show the race essentially tied. Real Clear Politics average has them tied at 47.
I saw that.
And I know that differs from state polls, and we'll get to that. But the national polls have them tied. Who's in a better position going into this final weekend?
Well, I think very, very marginally President Obama is. And the reason I say that is the national polls have come down from about a point and a half Romney lead to a tie. So the momentum the governor had has largely been arrested. But I think more substantively, the hurricane and the aftermath, particularly yesterday with Governor Christie, emphasized two key themes for the president: leadership and bipartisanship, themes that have been absent from the president's political playbook lately. So I think he's got a slight advantage, but this is by no means decided.
Is there a turnout issue related to the hurricane? I mean, I guess it hit mostly blue states that the president's going to win anyways, right?
Yeah, I think ultimately by next Tuesday, people who are going to vote are going to vote. I think the real issue that the Democrats face vis-a-vis turnout is, if you look at the polls, the intense voters are for Governor Romney. The less intense voters are for President Obama. He's got to have a very robust GOTV, get out the vote effort.
Okay, so even if the hurricane cost Obama some time on the campaign trail, he gets to look presidential, and Romney just sort of has to stand on the sidelines and watch.
Yeah, I think that going into the hurricane, Romney had a slight amount of momentum. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, now Thursday, that momentum has largely been arrested. He's had to put on kid gloves to a certain extent, that is Governor Romney, hold his criticism. And bottom line, the narrative has changed from the weakness of the Obama administration to the president's success in appearing concerned about the hurricane.
Now, as a professional pollster, how do you weight these national polls versus these state polls? Some people argue, or at least some opinion journalists argue, national polls don't really mean anything. That you got to win the Electoral College. How do you weight?
Well,
them?
they both mean something. And I begin with the national polls, because if you win the national vote by more than 51-49 either way, the states follow. Put another way, this is a national election. It's not a state-by-state election. Now, we count the votes state by state, but people think nationally. And if you look at those states, Jason, you could go from Iowa to Wisconsin to Minnesota to Michigan, Pennsylvania, and most importantly, Ohio. Every poll, with one or two exceptions, is showing a slight or a not-so-slight Obama lead. That has to put him in a good position.
Now, let's look at that electoral vote race that you just mentioned. Can Romney win without Ohio?
To win without Ohio, he needs, say, Wisconsin and Colorado. That's, I think, 9.
And he's trailing in both of those.
Yeah,
states.
he's trailing in both of those. Now, it's not outside the realm of reason that he could win Wisconsin and win Colorado. Wisconsin, Governor Walker put together a robust GOTV effort. Colorado's as close to a deadlocked state as I've seen. But bottom line, I think the ball game is probably going to be decided in Ohio. And if the president wins Ohio and Wisconsin, where he's leading in both, I think it's lights out.
30 seconds.
Sure.
Republicans, it seems, still haven't given up on Pennsylvania. Is it out of reach?
I don't think it's out of reach, but looking at the data suggests to me that Western Pennsylvania has moved heavily in Governor Romney's direction, but I think there are enough votes in the Philadelphia media market that the governor will come close, but probably not succeed.
Thank you very much.
Jason, thank you for having me.